Welcome to the Exit Strategy. We have real conversations to transform your mindset, money, and more. And now, the Exit Strategist.
This up on the screen. All right, ladies, here we go. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and spin the wheel. Let's see what we're talking about today.
Yes, we don't know until the wheel tells us what we're talking about.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
When is it a good time to introduce financial education to our children? Yes, I love it.
Yeah. All right, so go ahead.
I think it's a good time to introduce financial education to our children as early as 6, because at that age, that's when they first start going to school. They first start recognizing numbers. So that's my thought, is that age 6 is a good time to start introducing them to financial education, at least financial literacy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was Miss Carolyn's topic. Tell us, Carolyn, what were you thinking?
Well, actually, that's exactly, I think I introduced money concept to my son around 4, 5. He had a piggy bank, every time he received money, those Gerber jars back in the day when they was babies, had Gerber jars. We would put money down in there. He had toys, whatever toys he want. He had, savings, and he had his tithing. So we introduced that at an early age, and it was by picture, not, the concept that he didn't get the financial side of it, but he saw pictures. If you want a toy, this is a weekly toy. You can go to Dollar Tree and get your toy. You earn that. So that's what he was doing. We learned that at an early age. I started doing that for him. And then in my Bible study class, we introduced that to the parents to put that for the kids. So how did that work? He's 25 and he's a little better of saving money, but he also spends a lot too, but he knew how to wrap it back up. So I think at as early as you see fit for your child, and you can use pictures. They may not understand the concept. They know that they can go to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree was a big thing for him, is buying that toy. So, and tithing, he knew he had to put money in church. So whatever he did, those are the things that we did, and we had a dollar sign. So we used pictures on the Gerber jars, and he was just able to see. So physically seeing what he was doing. And every week, if he had $1, he actually could go to Dollar Tree without any problems. So what do you guys think?
So I'll just go. I think, to Monica's point, starting young, I remember, so my son is a good counter. He's good with math, just math in general. He's 11 now. But when he was 2 years old, he started counting. Instead of just having him count things, we counted money. So that was a good way. He would stack up those quarters. 4 quarters made $1. We'd start stacking them. So I do think, as early as they are able to count, I think it's a good idea to introduce money or introduce financial education to our children, for sure. We have a rule in our house: when the kids turn 13, they get their bank account. I think we need to start a little earlier, to be honest, but I think the banks only allow you to do it at 13, where they can have a debit card. So we do that. But isn't it hard now these days to do the change jars, because we don't have coins as much as we used to, and dollar bills? We've got debit cards and things like that. It's even challenging. So I'd love to hear what some people have to say about how do we do it these days without having the coins like we used to.
I can jump in on that, because interestingly, Brandy, my family and I, we started the coin jar again. Because we realized that swiping that card was just too easy. You don't have a true accounting for your finances. So I, like most people, got started a little bit late with finances. And when I got started, my children were maybe that 5th through 8th grade. So I began introducing it to my children at that age. So now, fast forward, now we're like use cash, and then any change you have, put in our jar. And we are all excited about watching that jar rise. So we're going back old
You're
school.
going back to the old school. Okay.
That's good though. That's
Yes.
good.
That's good. So that
Yeah.
those are the things that you want to do. Introduce that. I mean, Rosalind, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I'll jump in as well. And I think connecting to what you just mentioned, Carolyn, understanding your child, also understanding your family dynamics, because many of us may come from a different family dynamic. Some of us come, from a family with mother and father. Some of us come from single parent families. So I think the dynamic around money and when you should introduce it, it really depends on your family dynamics. But I also love the idea of having a family meeting and understanding what the family's goals are, because now guess what, we are introducing entrepreneurship to children younger and younger. And so as we're running our business, listen, you can write the child off on your business, so as soon as they can dump out some trash or they can sweep around the room, you should be introducing them to monetary concepts. You might not want to go too deep. But yeah, I think, depending on what the dynamics are, is when you as a family decide to introduce them to financial literacy and concepts.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead, Morgana.
Well, you know what, Rosalind, to tie it back to Monica's original statement and all the work I know you do from a medical state perspective with mindset, that age of 6, they can consume so much more than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
So I think we underestimate their capacity to understand. And for me, I had no idea what I was doing, but I never, ever baby talk to my children. I spoke to them like I was to an adult. So if we follow that same logic, why dummy them down when we can just teach them from our perspective?
Yeah, I'm with you there. That don't talk to them as no baby talk. Speak to them like you're speaking with another adult. And they do understand at that level. And I think back to Rosalind, I come from a family of both parents, but we never talked about money. Money was not a thing that we talked about. That's not something, I used to blame my parents as if they'd have told me not to get all these credit cards when I was in college, stop signing my life away. I wouldn't have never been in debt. I wouldn't know how to deal with that. So as a parent of one child, I was able to show him, teach him how to be frugal with his money, not just going, just because that sneaker was $99 in a store. Oh no, let's go to Burlington Coat Factory. We about to be 3 or 4 pairs of sneakers. I don't care. They all Pumas, whatever it may be. There are 3 or 4 pairs of sneakers that you purchase that you have 3 versus 1. So teaching them how to do that, it was something, and he does that now. So those are the things that you start early in introducing that to them. I can only speak for me. I was never introduced to how to save money, how to put money. My family always had it. We never had any issue. I never faced any issues with finances with my family. But as leaving on my own, as out there in the world on my own with my own job, I never had no one to teach me that until I got into this. And that's why I taught my son how to do that. So those are the things I think as early as possible, I think, for children start to learn. We may not know, but you pass that on to your child as early, like you said, 6, for me, 4. Brandy said 2. So whatever your children are capable of, you start teaching that. And if you have to do it by pictures or you do it by numbers or whatever it may be, how to get them to where now they're understanding what money means. How to go ahead.
I challenge you with a question. I apologize. I thought you were finished. You said something, Carolyn, that just hit my heart about letting our children know. Is there any parent by birth or by observation that you really let your children know what's going on financially, or do we try to protect them, thereby not really letting them understand?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's protecting or if it's like we want to make sure our business stays in the house. That's probably what it more so is. Like if I tell them too much, they're going, because kids run their mouths, right? They're going to
Right.
stop and tell the neighborhood about what's going on. I think it's more so our fear that people will, get to know what's going on. But if we help our kids know, look, this is family business. I think it comes down to, the values that you teach your children beyond money, right? The family business stays in the house. And then it's important to keep them in the loop on what's going on. In my opinion, I think let's save as a family together. If we got, I remember my husband's mother taught me this with my stepdaughter. They would save for like whatever big item they wanted to buy, they saved together for it. And I thought that was such a great thing when she introduced that idea to me. It's like, it's not just the parents that are saving, the kids should get involved in that. Let's save for this big item or this vacation or whatever. Let's do it together so they get the habit of saving for those big things. So yeah, I hear you on the, are we protecting them? But I think it's more so we're protecting ourselves. That's what I think it is.
I agree.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, Brandy, we have to think about what our money story is. Who taught us about money? And so if we take a moment and think back to that, many of our money stories may have started with, a level of not knowing, right? Or many of our money stories started in families that argued over money, let's just say. And so unfortunately, sometimes that introduces some trauma and some fear around that. But I do believe if you put that information out there and allow your children to come to you to ask questions around that, but make sure that the conversation around money, right, is a part of everyday living, it makes it that much better. Again, I was one where my dad really was against credit cards. So Carolyn, I didn't have that problem. When I went to college, I don't even know what a credit card tables was because I was like almost taught, stay away from credit. You know what I mean? And while I don't necessarily advise to stay away from credit, I advise to be knowledgeable to know how to use credit responsibly. And now my oldest daughters, 22 and 20, we have those conversations around, okay, what is your bill looking like? And for the most part, they pay off their bill every month because guess what? They're in the phase of building credit. So I'm like, I think something rubbed off, even if it necessarily, my dad kind of gave me some fear around it, I was able to pass off some of those things to my children so that, again, they don't get to that place where they become stuck in that.
About less than 3 minutes, guys.
Miss
Yeah.
Lila?
It's not typical that parents would teach their children about finances at an early age. So kudos to your dad, Rosalind, for having those conversations with you around credit cards and how important it is to stay away from them when you don't know what you're doing. And most college kids don't, they just know what they want. And so they go and get in trouble. My first $100 with J.C. Penney's buying a dress that I really didn't need and didn't know how to pay for, but that's beside the point. My point that I wanted to make is with reference to our children being taught financial education in school. So we're in the midst of going and pitching schools to get financial education in these schools to try and get our children as they're young adults before they hit those ages. Brandy, kudos. You taught your kids to get a checking account or a banking account at the age of 13. That's thebomb.com. And I heard you, Carolyn, when you said 3 minutes, but I'm telling you, we really need to start working on catching these children when they are young, so that we can really get it in their heads, because they're going to get the information from one source or another. Why not get it from us and give them good, solid foundational principles around finances? So
Can I one up that one? Why not find children, young adults who we could teach it to that can reach other children?
Yes.
That's where the magic happens, because we all know children go parent deaf.
Yes.
They do. So,
Yep.
and I know there are teenagers, young adults out there that are driven, ambitious, who could help us help them.
For sure.
About less than a
sure.
minute, guys.
Peer learning, peer learning. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I want to add one more, and I think this might help drive it home. I tend to, because I'm interested in finances, I am a lover of education, so I tend to go to conferences and things like that. And a couple years ago, I actually purchased a set of financial cue cards. And so guess what? Boo, boo, boo. And so they have a picture of them. I know there was his cash, and it tells you exactly what it is. And so guess what? I've learned some things from here. This talks about taxes. It tells you what it is. So you can make learning about finances fun for not just children, but adults as well. This talks about equity, right? How you can pull equity out of what you own to be able to invest in your business. So those are just some tips I believe that, we could use and our audience could use to be able to teach their children about financial concepts.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. 15 minutes goes by so fast, lady.
It does.
It does. It does. But this has been a great conversation. I'm glad this was our first conversation. So I'm excited about the next weeks to come. So I look forward to it. Carolyn, thank you for the topic.
Well, you are welcome. It's an awesome it's an awesome topic that we need to touch base on.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.
Wait, don't go just yet. Let's let them know.
Oh.
We never ever know what we're talking about. We make it totally random because we want this to be real, relevant, off the cuff. If you have topics you want us to discuss, send it to us through our social media channels, and we'll see what we talk about next.
So.
That's it, ladies.
That's it. That was good.
You want me to do a cartwheel?
No. So what I would expect is, like, as soon as Morgana said what she said, we should roll to and we are the exit strategy. That whole report. Yes, that was good.
We are the Exit Strategy. Find us on Roku, Boss Ladies TV, where we have transparent conversations to transform your mindset, money, and more. Scan the QR code to follow us on all social media at The Exit Strategy.